Well, now it's time to check your money with America's true money maven, Vicki Brackens. Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial Advisors Corp, member SIPC. Hey, Vicki, how you doing?
Doing wonderfully, George.
What a great day it is, and it's always good to see you. What is going on?
Well, I think that we've got 2 or 3 things to maybe say double back on and then move forward on some new information. Just to go back to what we talked about last week, because I know there's been a lot of conversation around that. When we did our spiral,
Right.
Okay, or the corkscrew, as I called it.
Right, because you asked us to put
your date of birth at the bottom.
And your DOD.
And put your date of death at the top, and put an X on one of the rungs that represented where you are now.
Right.
The reason for that is we wanted everyone to visualize exactly where you are in relation to time and the mission and goals that you have established in your life. And then I asked 2 questions. Look at that X and determine how do you feel, and what's the first thought for that when you look at that X. So what
X
was
meaning where you are.
where you are, okay, right now.
And I said, actually, my first thought was, damn, I got a lot of work to do to catch up for a lot of the past of not having done some things.
Right, okay, and I've had people tell me that they felt like panicked, and others who said, you know what, Vicki? I started to think about and reminisce about all the things that had happened and family members and so forth. But most of all, what I heard was that I need to get started. Right. I need to put some action and some urgency, some intentionality around what's going to happen between now and that DOD.
Yeah.
So this week we are focusing on zero no more.
Yep.
But I've heard a lot of conversations recently that I want to make sure that I add another layer of conversation around. And here's this.
What?
We hear about struggles all the time.
Yes,
right?
we do.
I'm struggling to do this and so forth. But I don't hear enough about strategy. So our next mantra or our next focus is going to be no struggles discussed without a strategy on how to handle it. So no struggles without strategy. As we are celebrating tomorrow, Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday, even though it was actually on the 15th.
Right.
The actual holiday is being celebrated tomorrow. I recall that when I was younger, I had the opportunity to actually listen to Dr. Martin Luther King and to Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Sure.
And one of the things they emphasized, particularly late in his career, was economic justice.
Sure.
What do we really mean by economic justice? Well, and you know what? In fact, just before you come on, Reverend Jackson is on. Is
That's
it not?
right.
Okay, and I
just
listen
before.
to him every Sunday
Another
morning.
Omega brother.
I listen to him every Sunday morning, and he has an advertisement on there from John Hope Bryant. And John Hope Bryant quoted a statistic that just blew me over. And you know what it was? That 50% of the American population cannot find $600 to cover an emergency. Cannot bring together $600 in case something happened. And this is
within what time frame, though?
Immediately.
Okay, just put your hands on it.
Put your hands on it right
and
now.
make it happen.
Make it happen. Okay, I'll go with you, George. Make it happen. Okay. And it dawned on me that right now, what we're seeing the impact of that very vividly with what's happening with the government shutdown.
Absolutely.
Individuals who are concerned, and I'm not trying to downplay their concern or their struggle, but what I'm saying is that at this point in time in our lives, we need to stop and look at what would happen to me. What would happen to you if tomorrow there was a shutdown? Because guess what? The government shutdown is just one kind of shutdown that we experience.
Exactly.
We have illnesses, that's a shutdown.
Yes,
that's a
it is.
disruption in your cash flow.
Sure.
Loss of a job, disability, kid gets sick, car breaks down, something happens, we have an auto accident. Something that's going to
panic
disrupt.
shopping during a blizzard.
That's not a shutdown.
I know.
Okay. But we have all kinds of events, so they're not publicized like the government shutdown, but all we're talking about is a disruption in our cash flow. And if we don't have the liquidity, we talked about this last year, but I really want to focus on this. If we don't have the liquidity to get us through a shutdown, what happens is we will never reach zero no more because we've got zero today.
That's right.
Okay, and so I thought to myself, we're talking about zero no more, and what we need to do as far as growing our net worth, maybe I need to step back for a week or two and discuss what it takes to create real liquidity.
Yeah.
Okay, so last week, one of the additional to-dos was to create the mission statement.
Yes.
So I'm assuming everybody did the mission statement.
Mm-hmm.
And now with the mission statement, we need to add an action plan.
Well, let's not make assumptions though, Vicki. So let's
Okay.
just say what it is you want people to do.
Get together with your family, okay? And the family members sit down and discuss what our family mission is. What is the purpose of this family? And what are we trying to accomplish together? Not only discuss it, but write it. In fact, if you can find like an 11 by 14 piece of paper or
Right.
something even bigger, construction paper. They still have construction paper?
Yeah, they do.
Okay, construction paper, a poster board.
Poster
put
board
down
is what
poster
people- yeah,
board,
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Write out what the family mission statement is, and if you go back to the Inspiration for the Nation website, the steps, okay, and the
Right.
link to that, okay, process is there. But take the time to do it. So now that you've done it, okay, or are going to do it, we're going to add an action item, and the action item is with our mission statement, we want a liquidity plan. We want to create cash that's available so that if we ever have a shutdown, we don't have to be part of that 50%.
Let's talk about that. Available and not touchable. Well, how do I put it? Because you could have it, but something happens and it's not.
No, I'm not saying have $600 today, go spend it tomorrow evening because we have something we want to do. This is locked up cash that's available for a real emergency.
Gotcha.
And the numbers that I'm about to use are not necessarily the prescribed numbers.
Right.
Because I want to say what they are. The prescribed numbers are 6 months of your expenses.
Right.
We will work toward that.
Right.
I just want to get everybody beyond the fact that 50% of the population can't get $600 together. So here's what we're going to do. If you earn, as far as the family, less than, say, $60,000 as far as your family is concerned, we need to save together. This is going to be a together action for the whole population.
Sure.
At least $700 over the next 7 months.
Okay.
That works out to $25 a week.
Okay.
Vicki, how am I going to get $25 a week? Here's how you're going to do it. Number one, with that mission statement, what can we do together as a family to trim our expenses to find $25 a week? If we can't trim our expenses, what kind of additional work, whether it be a part-time job, an extra full-time job, a paper route, a gig, whatever you want to call it, what are we going to do over the next 7 months to create an additional $25 a week?
You know, one of the things that people can do is reduce their food budget.
Yes,
And they have all kinds of ways in the community that can be done. So that's one thing that people can do.
Okay, so if you're earning as a household less than $60,000, so add up what your revenue is.
Right.
If it's less, then I want you to save $700
Over the
next 7 months.
Okay.
That's $25 a week.
Okay.
If you are earning from 60 to 100, as far as a household, the number becomes $50 a week.
A week.
A week. Okay, and if you're over 100, the number becomes $100 a week. That means that in that first category, we're going to save $700. As far as between 0 and 60,000, from 60 to 100, that family will save $1,400. And then if you're over 100, you'll have in the liquidity pot $2,800. Understand what I said earlier. This is not the prescribed number, but when 50% can't access, and they didn't say 50% of people in this category, they said all Americans. That means it could be someone who's earning $100,000 down to someone who's earning $10,000 can't find $700 to handle an emergency.
$600
to handle an emergency. Yes, because of the statistic, and when it was written, I bumped it.
Right.
$100.
Right. You want us to have $700. So let's go through that. If you make $60,000 or less, you're going to save $25 a week
Right.
for over the next 7 months, and
That's
so you
correct.
can have $700.
Exactly.
If you make between 60 and
And
100,000, you're going to save $50 a week,
That's correct.
and you'll have $1,400.
That's correct.
And if you make over 100,000 as a family,
As a family.
you will then save $100 a week.
That's right.
And you'll have $2,800.
Okay, now hear this clearly. Do not stop doing what you're already doing.
Right.
So if you're saving in your 401k, I do not expect you to stop saving in
This
your
is not
401k.
mixing, stop doing this and do it.
No.
This is in
this
addition to.
Okay? Because your 401k is not really designed for liquidity. You can get the money, and a lot of people who are in the government shutdown right now are raiding
Their
their
401k,
retirement
their
plans.
yeah.
That is not a good thing. Don't stop doing what you're already doing. This is in addition to, so that if an emergency happens and you have a shutdown in your cash flow, it's there. This is not money for the vacation fund, and you keep doing that. This is in addition to. So it may require that you actually go out and make a significant change in some of the spending habits.
Sure.
It may require that you actually go out and get a second job or different job or something, but for the next 7 months, focus. We absolutely want focus, because to be in a position where you are paycheck to paycheck with no backup is disaster waiting to happen. And in Syracuse, we want zero, no
No
more.
more.
Okay? So George, I think at this point in time, I can solidly say our plate is full.
All right, Vicki, that's some really solid, good information. Vicki Brackens is our money maven and the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial Advisors Corp, member SIPC.